and we're gonna have some main findings and from the breakout sessions from the moderators of its breakout session, so everybody will be informed about the work of its team, and then some conclusion remarks and the next steps. Next slide, please, Carlo. So some rules for the meeting. Please ensure to have a good internet connection if possible. You might want to use a headset to hear more clear and avoid external sounds. At the beginning of the meeting, you will be muted, or whenever there is a noise, please keep yourself muted. The chat will be public on the right of the screen. There is a chat. Whenever you go on, you can post something. You can text us. Also on the right side of the screen, the polling questions. We have some polling questions ready for you. Will be available during the end of the first session. Yes, of course, your questions will be seen by the speakers in the audience, so please feel free to ask us anything and or tell us your opinion on something whenever possible. And we will try to answer your questions. We're here to learn from you also, so please give us your feedback at any time. Next slide, please. So about the platform, as you can see on the left, you can mute or unmute yourself. It's the Microsoft, number one. Number two is the share screen for the panel list. Number three, you can see the participants. 4 is the chat. You can access it also from this button. 5 is the additional options. And 6, you can close and leave the event. I hope you don't until it ends. And with 7, you can check the chat and have a look at the questions and answers in the panel. And at the number 8 is the interface and visibility options. Let's go to the next one. So I will leave this for a few seconds. So please scan our Twitter or LinkedIn. Follow us, follow the Ahort project pages, and please feel free to post anytime. Below it, you can see the hashtags you can use: autonomous logistics, transport, EU transport research, Horizon 2020, and you can tag Ahort / Horizon H 2020 to see us at any time. So please feel free to post at any time your opinion, your views, any screenshot, and any information you have to share with social media. Feel free. Now, next one, we have a video, a very small video of Ahort that we have created. 1 minute, and let's hear it together. Okay, so that was a glimpse of the project. It's a very small video. Now we start with the session 1. So now I would like to give the floor to Ines, our project coordinator. Ines Guth is working for EasyMile. and she's going to give us a presentation on the Ahord project, scaling autonomous logistics, the Ahord approach. Ines, please.
Okay, thank you, Ted, for this nice introduction. So happy to have all of you around this workshop today. It's very exciting for us. This is the first one. So as Ted explained, we are just starting the project and getting into concretely into the topics. So this presentation is more about an introduction of what we're doing within Ahord, basically the context, where the project stands, and what is our approach. So next slide, please. So I will have two parts in this presentation: the context as a first part, and then the approach. Yeah, go ahead. Thanks. Hello. All right. So before we go into detail, I would like just to remind where we stand within the frame of H2020. So Ahord is the H2020 project, which is subsidized by the European Commission. And it aims at actually contributing to improving the market, the business, the logistic business of the European landscape. So Ahord falls into the frame of four objectives of H2020. So the first one is contributing to the accelerated development of innovative, connected, and automated freight transport solutions in Europe. Then we aim at increasing the overall safety and efficiency of what we will be developing, of the vehicles that we will be developing with autonomous driving systems on board. Third, the objective is to actually uptake new business models, to open new business model. It's just not to remain where we stand, but seek new opportunities based on what we will be developing. And fourth, we aim at reducing the total cost of the operations thanks to the autonomous vehicles technology, and more importantly, improving the competitiveness of the European transport and logistics industry. So we have to keep this in mind while building our projects, because this is really why this kind of opportunities is being developed today and allowed by the European Commission. So when the project was built, when Ahord was built, we had this sentence into our minds. It's like our focus is to develop, test, and demonstrate connected and automated systems for heavy commercial vehicles in a real logistics operation. So it's making the autonomous vehicles concrete and become a reality. Next slide, please. So in order to answer this is how Ahord came to life. So the project falls into having an efficient, safe, connected, and automated heavy-duty vehicles in real logistics operations. This is where we develop the Ahord, as Ted explained, all-weather autonomous real logistics operations and demonstrations. So the project coordinator is EasyMile. We are in total 29 partners. Project started in 1st January 2021. And you see, so all the partners, which is part of this project, just below, you have all the logos. So I won't cite all of them, but you will see the logos many times in this presentation. And you'll start to get to know us pretty well. Next slide, please. So what is important with this consortium is that we are complementary skilled. So basically in the cycle of development of the autonomous vehicles, from the user requirement specifications to the ADS development, sensor set definition, the testing, validation, and so on, we have all the skills within the consortium to perform all this. So we have sensors experts, sensors providers at the top left. Then we have autonomous driving system providers and experts in the middle. Then we have heavy duty vehicles manufacturers. So we're working on concrete platforms, of concrete vehicle platforms provided by 4 different vehicles manufacturers. Then we have experts in fleet management and supervision. We are going to be basically the maestro of having these vehicles working properly on the different logistic sites. And then, of course, we have the end users, because we need to be able to test, demonstrate those vehicles on site. And then we have the support of different kind of industrial sites within the consortium. So all those, no, I'm not done. So all those different partners at the top, so you can see in blue, are supported by different entities that are doing certification and that enable access to proving grounds. So while developing our vehicles, as you saw, we are going to target some safety expectations. We are going to need to test, demonstrate that the vehicles work properly before we actually go on site. So this is where those partners come into force. So in green, that's all the certification and proving grounds expertise that we need for this project. Then the last brick of our consortium is all the different entities, research entities, expert in innovation, impact assessment, business modeling, and so on, that would help us to promote what we will be developing and also design, shape a regulatory framework around the autonomous technology that we were going to develop. Because today, as most of you know, there's no legal framework. It's very difficult to have autonomous vehicles deployed, operating on public roads or even private roads if there's no proper rules. And our objective is at the end of the 3 years of the projects, we know where we stand and how we will be operating in a legal frame, having a European legal frame of these different technologies. And we have the right support to do so within the consortium. Next slide, please. This is just a view of where we are from. So 29 partners, it's a lot of people, it's different cultures. So we're from everywhere in Europe up to Israel. So it's very exciting projects. We're all coming from different countries and we all have many things to bring. And this makes these projects even more interesting as, yeah, we're all bringing new things. And the idea is that all these different cultures and knowledge can be combined together to have something performing well at the end. Next slide, please. So now that you know better who we are, let's deep dive a bit into what approach we're going to develop to achieve our objectives. Next slide, please. So we have actually 3 ambitions within the project. The first ambition is to develop an autonomous driving system architecture that offers a unique sensor sets, enabling 24/7 availability within an extended operational design domain. So the operational design domain, Peter will tell you about a bit later, that's basically the environment where a vehicle is aimed to operate with some limitations or not, with specific conditions. So today, autonomous vehicles, outdoor autonomous vehicles, they are often limited by the weather. When you have fog, when you have rain, or if there's snow, and so on, you don't have visibility, you can't properly operate due to the technology that is currently on board the vehicles and the different algorithms that are running behind. So the idea, the first ambition of the project is to actually tackle these all-weather capabilities and being able to have vehicles working 24/7 because this is a need for the industry and for the logistics application. Then our second ambition is to actually validate the developments made for ambition 1 and to deploy those vehicles, those projects into factories, warehouse, airports, ports, so demonstrate that there is a real use case, that it is working, and it is also scalable and replicable. So today we're working with 1 vehicle for each kind of use case, but the idea is to demonstrate that this can be multiplied very easily, and we have there a business case that is working. Then the third ambition is targeting the fleet management system. So today we have fleet management system that enable to dispatch missions to the autonomous vehicles, but it is limited to the autonomous vehicles capabilities themselves. Today, there's no fleet management system that integrates the logistic systems and the specific requests of the logistic industry, the specific missions of the logistic industry. So we have a big pillar in this project where we have to synchronize with different end users, with the different tools that exist, the different logistic systems that exist, to have all this embedded into 1 single fleet management system that will enable to rule basically all the vehicles depending on their logistics application and needs. So this is obviously the objective is to have a high reliable and secure tool that optimizes the logistics flows and ensures the safety as well for the road users and so on. So the project is really built around these 3 different ambitions. And next slide, please. And this is how we are approaching step by step the developments. So first we develop the ADS, which handles the adverse weather conditions. So we have constraints brought to the ADS. We have safety constraints as well, as we target compliance with the ISO 26262. We'll also take the SOTIF recommendations into account. We integrate multi-sensor modalities. So we have cameras, we have LiDARs, we have radars, and so on, in order to have the system that is the most, let's say, compatible with the harsh weather conditions that we can encounter. And then we have to develop an optimized fleet management and supervision system. So once this is developed, so this is the first years of the project, we'll integrate this technology into the heavy-duty vehicles. So we have 4 of them: one forklift vehicle, counterbalance forklift vehicle, one swap body truck vehicle, one baggage tractor vehicle, and one yarding truck. Then finally, we will, once these vehicles will have the technology on board and will be ready for the demonstration, we will deploy them on the different 4 sites. So the first one, the forklift, will be deployed on the industrial autonomous loading and unloading operation. So it's basically a private site with warehouses. Then we have the vehicle from CAMAG deployed for hub-to-hub service between Rotax and DB Schenker. Then we'll have the TLD vehicles, the baggage tractor, deployed in the airport. And finally, the vehicle from Joburg deployed in the port for autonomous transfer operations. So let's go to the next slide and enter a bit more, having a bit more details about the use case. So it's just an overview. You will have time during the workshop to go much more in details. But basically, the first use case is about autonomous loading and unloading of forklift operations. So the site is in Linde-Aschaffenburg. This is in Germany. And the objective is to demonstrate so G2 boxes transport on yarding and yarding on the site using the autonomous counterbalance forklift. So it's replacing actually an operation that is done by a manual forklift today. Then next slide, please. The second use case so concerns hub-to-hub shuttle service from the warehouse production site to logistics hub. So we have Rotax and DB Schenker, which are located in 2 different areas. This is in Austria. And the idea is to demonstrate that we can transfer freight from one site to another, crossing public road, entering private site, interacting with different kind of road users, and so on. So this has to be done also in the frame of demonstrating that it is highly automated and enables continuous operation. So this site is also ambitious because we have a private public road portion in the demonstration. Next slide, please. Then the third use case is focused on the airport, which is a private site. It is Oslo Gardermoen Airport. So the objective there, it was demonstrate automatic baggage freighter transportation under harsh weather conditions that we can expect in Norway, from an aircraft stand to another aircraft stand and vice versa. And then the use case will also be extended with the automated ULD transportation from some proximity storage to the makeup area and from the makeup area to the aircraft stand. So we're getting very close to what the vehicles would do in a concrete airport logistics process. And then next slide, please. The fourth use case is targeting port operation. This is going to be on Rotterdam port terminal, which is a restricted site, but there's a lot of animation on this site. We have to demonstrate that the vehicles can operate there. So it's basically transferring trailers within the terminal. It's a very lively environment. There is going to be 3 steps within this use case that will be shown to you a bit later. And quite ambitious because, as I said, there's a lot of animation on the board, a lot of moving objects, and as well we have to target the all-weather capabilities with this vehicle. So that's it for my presentation. It's just to give you a first idea of what we're doing, and so that you know better who we are. And I wish you all a very good first workshop, and hope you'll enjoy as much as we will do. Thank you very much.
Ines, thank you very much. Just 1 minute to transfer the rights to share the presentation. Now we have Fernando Lieza, the Secretary General of ALICE. He will present us. Just a second. Okay. Okay. ALICE is the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration in Europe. It's a European technology platform that is set up to develop a comprehensive strategy for research, innovation, market deployment for logistics and supply chain management innovation in Europe. So, sorry for the delay. Okay, Fernando, Fernando, you have the right to share your screen now. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for being here today. And
okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I have an issue still with the camera. I think it has been taken by another application. I'm really sorry for that. And okay, but then let's move in this way. I'm sorry I cannot share my camera today. Thank you very much, the Award Consortium, for the very kind invitation to this workshop. And first of all, a little bit of background. ALICE, the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration in Europe. We are a non-for-profit association based in Brussels. We have 140 members. We will see them later on. And what we have is the mandate from the European Commission on developing research and innovation agendas and defined priorities that are implemented through the programs. And indeed, we were looking into this topic before Award was awarded as one of the projects. Also, Award entered already in the preparation phase in the program of liaison with ALICE. We have more than 40 projects liaised with ALICE, and this means that we follow those projects from ALICE and in collaboration with the partnership to see how these projects contribute to the implementation of our research and innovation agenda and roadmaps that we will see later on as well. And then here today, what I wanted to share is a little bit more on the logistics context in which the Award project is framed. I think Ines made a great job in presenting the project and the ambitions and the use cases and which were the concrete elements in which this project will be working on. And I'll try to give you a little bit broader perspective, because it's very important to go in which are the logistics challenges and how these automated and autonomous technologies can support those logistics challenges. So here you have in this slide you have a list of our ALICE members. So you can see we have a very comprehensive list of members coming from different angles, all of them looking into freight transport and logistics. And this gives us a very holistic perspective. So then that's why we think we can provide a very wide overview and also advice to the different projects and the Commission, European Commission, on doing this. And you will see here there are some of the partners in Award that are also ALICE member, like KION Group, CARA, ITS Norway, ENIDE, and I guess I forgot somebody, but it's okay. And then with all this, what we do in ALICE is we truly believe, based on our membership, based on the capabilities of our members, and also the projects and the network, we can be the reference logistics and supply chain think tank and knowledge management organization in Europe. And this is what we are developing since the beginning. ALICE is not an old organization. We have been only for 5-6 years, and we are moving into building this vision. What we have done it has been to defined our vision, and indeed we truly, our vision is to move towards zero emissions logistics by 2050. And this, we created a roadmap that indeed was released the day before the president of the European Commission was announcing the Green Deal. And in this roadmap, we established 5 main intervention areas or solution areas that we needed to work on in order to achieve this zero emission. That it's the greatest challenge for this sector, is how to be competitive and at the same time compliant with the objectives in regards to climate change. Then we only last year we published the roadmap towards physical internet, in which we defined different ways in which logistics companies and logistics sector should be better use of the assets and resources, could be also using better transportation modes, and all this based on open standards, universal protocols. And here is where I think also the AWAD project and autonomous transport, it's very important. And one of the main requirements is that when we build these autonomous systems, we try to look into the wider and bigger perspective, so then we don't create very customized solutions for very customized applications, because then it's very difficult to scale up. And then if we go more in concretely how we believe our project and the work that is going to be developed can contribute to these roadmaps. In particular, we see that this hub-to-hub can really, and autonomous transportation can be really a lever for increased use of intermodal transport, because one of the main issues we have is that the last mile, so then from the terminals to the warehouses, even in particular logistics platforms, this is quite costly. And then having this type of autonomous vehicles and fleets that could perform this operation and maybe 24/7 hours could be a great lever for those particular operations. And here is, I think, the focus of AWAD on all weather. It's very important because, as you know, logistics needs to have a lot of continuity in the operations. So we cannot rely on systems that only work with good weather conditions or wherever. So then I think there are some aspects that you can manage, but those ones that you cannot manage, and weather is one of them, and you need to ensure you have operations continuity independently of that operation. And I think that focus on those ones could be a great lever towards various applications beyond of what has been, it's included already in AWAD. Then also, the more autonomous vehicles and operations we have, the more we can work with systems and synchromodality aspects in terms of relying on assets, resources in a very efficient way. So we truly believe in ALICE that autonomous transportation can be a lever for intermodality, and this could be one of the great values towards decarbonization. Additionally, the more we advance in autonomous fleets, and as the more we can also work on working on efficiencies. For example, we see trucks are only used 40 or 50% of the time. The rest of the time are sitting idle. While I think with autonomous systems or autonomous vehicles, we can try to get them work more time for us and for providing value. And also, I think it's quite important what Ines said on how these vehicles can be integrated in fleets and how they can really accomplish the assignments and how the transportation management systems can operate, and for sure integrating these vehicles with other type of systems providing visibility of transportation can really work towards reducing NT-miles and making a better use of the assets. And last but not least in this area, we are looking into the very long-term future in which open transport networks and warehouses can operate, and there is where we see also the links between transportation, warehousing, and logistics to really build these open transport networks and warehouses that can work in a very efficient way. And the last point, it's also very important how these autonomous technologies, and I know this is not the particular focus of our work, but it's still very important, how we can link that with transitioning the energy we use to move those vehicles. So autonomous transport combined with zero or low emission fuels, but mainly zero emission fuels, it's something that could quite important to be addressed. And going more concrete examples, what we see is that in current transportation system, we can see a crowded infrastructure at day, but not so much at night. So then we have there a waste in the infrastructure, and we truly believe that maybe with more autonomous systems, and there the combination of transportation with warehousing is key, because if you have transportation that it's autonomous, but then you cannot make the link between the transportation and the warehouse in an autonomous way, then it could be complex. So then we need to make sure that these systems can match with warehousing policies that are more 24 hours working. I think this is one of the examples you were including in the AWA project, is to really move from the terminals to the ships, or the transportation to the warehouses, and this is critical as well. It's very, very important. And then we already see connections between automation and electric, and I truly believe for certain, or for most of the applications in our world, this will be the case, and it's very important that we work on those types of applications that can be later upscaled to other applications in freight transport and logistics. Then here's something that we need to also work with, is that currently we are working with very rigid systems in which the speed it's really linked to the way transportation cost is built, and then with autonomous systems, okay, the faster we can go, the better, but the equation of cost of these vehicles will be a little bit different. So here it's important to understand in terms of the speed. So then I think the more fast you go with autonomous vehicles, the more complex it is, but those losses in time could be rewarded in other different points, and this is, I think, quite important, because also not for the applications in our world, but for other applications with higher speeds, it's also a balance between speed and energy consumption. So it's how and indeed we see, as I said before, most of the time the assets are idle and transport and goods are not moving. So then we can use those times in which goods are not moving, indeed, to make the transportation slowly and having the same or even lower lead times. So then that's not creating any issue to the logistics. Then the other issue, I think it's, and here I think it was a document published recently by RU. I think looking into the future, currently and looking into the future is going to be complex to find different type of resources, people for certain operations. In particular, is starting to be very tough and very complex to get truck drivers, and this is something that it's very important to be addressed. And then last but not least, looking into the use cases, and as I could explain in my presentation, all the use cases that are there are very relevant, in particular addressing all weathers, so then we can work on them, and also because they are very first type of potential applications in practice. So then we truly believe if we want to accelerate autonomous deployment, we need to find those use cases in which these technologies can be used in practice, can be scaled up in a shorter time, and for those ones, the well controlled conditions in warehouses, in airports, in ports, and also in some of the have-to-have applications are very good starting points. So having said that, all the best to the project and to the workshop, and looking forward to the discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fernando. Thank you very much for the presentation. I would like to thank Ines also for presenting the project, giving us an overview of what the next a bit more than 2.5 years will look like for Award. Now, we had those presentations were quite light, I would say. I hope you didn't sleep. Let's now go to the real content, and let's try to give some input to Peter and our other colleagues. So now Peter is going to present about the use cases, and in the meantime we will have a few questions on some aspects like ease of use, usefulness, etc. On the right side of the screen. So whenever the poll is coming up, please, you will have 45 seconds to reply. Please reply and submit your answer. So you have to click on the box. There are 5 options: strongly agree, neither agree nor disagree, and strongly disagree. From A to E. You have to click one of the options, and then on the bottom right of the polling, let's say, menu, you have to click submit. Peter will give you more information if need be. In the meantime, we're in the chat. If you have any question, please let us know anytime, and be glad to help you. Peter, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ted, for the introduction, and also to Ines and Fernando for their great introductions. So yes, what I will be talking about now is a bit more in detail the user requirements approach that we have in this project. And also there will be, as Ted explained, some interactive elements, where we would like to get into a dialogue with you, and that will be then further continued in the breakout discussions later on. Okay, so please, if you go to, so this is my name, Peter Fröhlich, Senior Scientist from AIT, Austrian Institute of Technology. So I will introduce into the requirements, elicitation approach, and we will gather your initial expectations. Next slide, please. So this is the scope of our project. As you may have heard already before. We called this one term, how you could call it, is automated ground goods transport system. So one of the first activities in the project was, of course, to define the scope. And and such a system is everything that is needed to realize the automated ground transport of goods in a defined area. And if you go to the next slide, then you see what that means. So when we're doing that, we have to look at a system of systems. So it's kind of a complex thing already there. So on the right upper side, you see the automated driving vehicle. So that's, of course, in the center, but there's also supporting logistics systems. So systems that then help to carry goods that like the forklifts and so on. And on the left side, you see then logistic operation and fleet management, which is also needed to be designed and understood, and also the supporting infrastructure like network, supporting network, and so on. Okay, so if you go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is what we're doing, functional and non-functional requirements. That's what we are currently doing and analyzing. And on the next slide, you see what different perspectives we have to take there. So it's basically three perspectives: the stakeholder perspective, which means, okay, actually who has a stake in the system. So whom do we have to ask? Whom do we have to analyze? Then the operations perspective. So what are we actually looking at? How in detail do the operations look like? And then also the acceptance perspectives. So what are the expectations of stakeholders? And then later on in the evaluation, of course, then to see whether these expectations can be fulfilled, what are concerns that we have to meet, and also overall, what is actually acceptance in that case? That needs to be operationalized in the beginning. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, here you see our stakeholder perspective, and you probably see that this is already quite something broad. If you look at such a system of systems, there's a lot of stakeholders, and you could look at them again from different perspectives. So if you go click once more, please, Carlo, then you see there's a direct process participants. So that's persons who really directly interact with a vehicle. They might not be sitting in the vehicle because we're talking about level 5 vehicles. So it's not that people are sitting typically in them anymore, at least in the final stage of a development. So there's remote control, there's people close to the vehicle who might be affected, and there's also people who are doing maintenance and management of those vehicles. If you click once more, Carlo, then there's indirect process participants. These persons are also in that concrete process that is looked at in each case, and those persons are then affected in the logistics chain. They might be managing, or it might be shippers, forwarders, consignor signers, in some sense affected by the performance, by the safety, and so on of these automated vehicles. And if you go once further, then we have the general stakeholders. And I assume that many of you might regard yourself as being this group. This means you have a general interest in this type of technology, because you might be applying it in your own business, because you're researchers, or because you're maybe representatives from the public, and so on. So of course, this is somehow in the focus today of our workshop. Okay, so taking this broad perspective, we also have quite some ambition. Please go once further. In the operations perspective, you have seen there's those 4 different use cases. Those have been introduced already, and they will be in more detail also introduced later on in the breakout sessions. So there we have experts on each use cases who will really know very, very deeply what they are talking about and what their vision is. So please stay posted there. If you click once more, I just show you what we are currently doing in the user requirements work. We're currently designing operational, or analyzing the operational design domain of this type of system of systems, which is a very interesting activity. So in some form, we will also like to share this to the community at some point in time. So this concerns the physical infrastructure definitions, operational constraints, and also, of course, the environmental conditions, including the weather, but also the connectivity. So this is ongoing work and expected to be finished by September. Okay, if you go further. So and the third perspective is the acceptance perspective. Here, the question is, okay, how can you actually analyze, measure acceptance from such a broad collection of people and stakeholders that I've introduced you before? And one good model seems to be the technology acceptance model. If you extend it not to the direct users, but also to broader stakeholders. And therefore, we have extended this model in order to, for example, include also acceptance by others, as you've seen here. So people are then asked, okay, what do you think about how other people might accept this, and also supporting conditions like job relevancy and these aspects, and of course also classical factors that come into that play into the general support and the intention to use, like ease of use and usefulness. So these factors will also play an important role in our discussion later on, actually right now, because now we will have this polling exercise together with you. So the first factor that I've just shown is the usefulness. And so here I would like you to think about the following statement. Automated road transport logistics systems will be useful. So this is a statement, and you could either agree or disagree to that statement. And we would like to give you the chance to do that. We are, of course, aware that this is a very broad and generic question. So one way to make it a bit more specific is that you should think about the use cases that we've just talked about, those 4 use cases. So think about those. And also then there's later on the chance to discuss in much more detail, because you will then be assigned to one of those use cases in the breakout groups, where you can then say, okay, under these conditions I would agree, and so on. So please now just make your spontaneous choice. And of course, the first time when you're doing it, there could be some questions, some problems, some technical problems, and so on. I think Carlo and Ted, for example, especially, pointed you towards the possibility of asking questions in the chat and so on. But normally there should be on the right side a message box or a poll box appearing where you can make your choice and then submit.
Yes, Peter, and we can have the results in a few seconds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that seems to be the results. Okay, there are some people who have not answered yet. So please, yeah, either try to address the technical problems that you have, or just make a choice. It's just nicer if everyone participates. And yeah, that seems to be quite some optimistic attitude towards that. Let's discuss that then later on in the breakout groups and later on in the summary. Okay, I would say we should come to the next acceptance factor that we call ease of use. So please go to the next one. Next slide, Carlo. Yes, it will be easy to operate automated road transport logistics systems. So those systems that we have just shown you, those 4 different types, and please also here make your vote.
So Peter, if I may, the first question was like, it's going to be useful. We had a clear result, but is it going to be easy? Is this question? And we have a few seconds still for people to reply. Please do.
Okay, that corresponds also to this result to our ongoing survey studies. I can share. So the expected ease of operation is then less positive than the usefulness, the expected usefulness. Okay, so let's come to the next. So this is about the supporting conditions. Good supporting conditions can be expected. That is the statement that you should vote upon. And this concerns, for example, things like training available to learn those new processes and technologies, job profile adjustments, for example, for fleet management or others, internal communication processes, supporting infrastructure, that is not completely directly related to the automated driving, but is still necessary, and also policy changes like certification and these aspects. So please also state here whether you strongly agree or strongly disagree.
So Peter, again, if I may, Zabin, the discussion, it is useful regarding to our experts. It's not going to be that easy. That's why we're here, I would say. If it could be easy, we wouldn't have a job to do here. And what supporting conditions can we expect now? Do we expect something for the future that will be helpful for automation or not helpful? We still have some seconds. Okay, Peter, we have the results.
Okay. Okay, so also here there's a bit leaning towards agreeing to the statement, but also some undecidedness. There has been some chat. I haven't seen it. We might have a look at it. But if that needs to be addressed, but for the user, so we need to. Okay. Thanks for Fernando. I think we should discuss that in the breakout groups and then afterwards. So you're saying that if systems are not easy to use, they will not be used. Behind there will be a lot of complexity that needs to be addressed, but for the users that will need to be transparent or will not be. Yeah. As a human factors researcher, I completely agree with you. REST, yes, but that's a big challenge. Yes. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is here now as a combined statement, but you will have separated polls regarding safety and security and reliability. So the statement that you should make a should agree or disagree is the system will be safe, secure, and reliable. And there's 3 different poll questions for that.
Okay, so we have 1 minute for those 3 questions. So it's the same question, but it's for safety, security, and reliability. You don't have to read everything. And
Okay, Valeska, Inge served, that's fine. We can, everything can be discussed in the breakout session. And we also have a survey that we will announce to you where you can then individually make more statements which to those same questions. If you would like to support us, this would be, of course, then even more useful for us for the research of those quantitative statements. Okay, so thanks for all everyone's vote. There, with regard to security, they have and also reliability. There was some unsure in security itself because there were not so many answers, but maybe it was also overlooked. Yeah, but there's a tendency towards agreeing to it. Okay, at least here in this sample that we have here today. Thank you. So I would go to the next one. This is about acceptance by others. Especially here, we're now more or less a group of experts, but of course we're not the only ones who then are important for the acceptance. So it's really, yeah, the question whether you think that other affected stakeholders will accept automated road transport logistics systems. So please also here indicate whether you strongly agree or strongly disagree. Okay, now I'm really looking forward to the results. Okay, so there's also, even there is a tendency towards agreeing. This is actually really interesting. And let's go to the next one, which is more or less like your intention to use or to support such systems. So I would generally support the use of automated transport logistics systems. So yeah, please, would you agree or disagree to that statement?
Peter, until this question is over, I just want to say that we have another survey that is under circulation at the moment, and we can share the link with you, the chat, a bit later. So if you want to give us some more detailed feedback, you can do in this way too.
Mm-hmm. This would be really helpful because especially those quantitative poll questions, they help us a bit more if you answer them individually as well in the survey. So yes, please, Ted, if you can share this, make it possible to share it with the participants. This would be really, really great if you could. It's just 10-15 minutes to fill that out, because you provide your qualitative statements already here in the workshop. But the quantitative ones would be really nice to add them in the survey. Okay, so this was my introductory presentation on the acceptance, and yes, Ted, I would like you know to make the hand over to the break and the the sessions. I think you have some slides, or don't you?
Okay, so at this point, everybody's gonna go to a different, let's say, virtual room. Maybe, no, Peter, we are running. We have a first coffee break, and then we go to the, sorry. Okay, let me check the agenda. Yes, we have a 10 minutes coffee break, and then let's meet at 10:15, so that we can go to the breakout sessions. Okay, sorry for mixing the agenda. See you in 8 minutes, I would say. Okay.
Okay, looking forward. Bye. See you.
Thank you, Ted.